The Mithraic Mysteries, also known as Mithraism, was a mystery cult in the Roman world where followers worshipped the Indo-Iranian deity Mithras as the god of oaths, order, and light. Mithra is also a judicial figure, an all-seeing protector of truth, the guardian of cattle and the harvest. The cult first appeared in the late 1st century CE, and, at an extraordinary pace, spread from the Italian peninsula and border regions across the whole of the Roman Empire. The cult would secretly worship Mithras in underground temples often built into caves and hidden away from the general public. In the cities, temples were formed by converting the basement level of apartment blocks. They were sunken below ground and windowless. In the countryside, the temples were designed from natural caves, and were commonly located close to springs or streams. Fresh running water appears to have been required for some of the Mithraic rituals, and a basin is often incorporated into the structure. The size of each temple was adapted to the number of members that gathered inside. They tried to meet the needs of its community in relation to the number of members. When the community grew, it became necessary to build a new place of worship. A 3rd century philosopher depicted the cave-like temples being made in the image of the world. They contained massive fountains, and the ceilings were painted blue to depict the stars in the sky. He mentions that astral conceptions played an important role in their beliefs. The Mithraeum represented 2 known aspects of their religion, as Mithras was born in a cave, and when he sacrificed the bull. The most important element of the myth behind the mysteries was Mithras' killing of a bull. The scene is also known as a Teratoni. It was believed that from the death of the bull, an animal, often associated as a symbol of strength and fertility, sprung new life. Rebirth was an essential idea of the myth of the Mithraic Mysteries. The sacrifice of the bull established a new cosmic order, and was also associated with the moon, which was also associated with fertility. The sacrifice of the bull was depicted in a stone relief that had a central place in nearly every cult temple. Around 650 of these stone reliefs have been found, and they are all strikingly similar. Each Mithraeum had several altars, some underneath the statue of the Teratoni, other altars commonly placed in the main chamber. These altars were used regularly for sacrificial purposes of burning livestock. Lighting the altars may have served as an honor to Mithras, as some interpretations show that his birth was celebrated by lighting torches. An important element of the cult was a moral questioning of the self. For example, a crown was placed on the initiate's head, which he had to reject, saying, "Mithras is my true crown." This too was thought of a ritual of reincarnation, which started the new life for the individual or the initiate being brought in. The earliest documented followers of Mithras were soldiers and officers of the Roman army, but with rising popularity of the cult, the majority of the initiates were successfully freed slaves from the cities. The mysteries were popular among the Imperial Roman army from about the 1st to the 4th century CE. So, why would a Roman soldier, or anyone, go through the troubles of becoming a member of the Mithras mystery? First, as mentioned earlier, the cult supported the emperor. Second, the cult was based on mutual interest, friendship, and intimacy. The temples accommodated only small groups. It is understandable that members of the military were attracted to these aspects that guaranteed some sort of stability in an otherwise dangerous profession. The secrecy of the cult was tolerated at first by the authorities, especially by Roman emperors, because it was in favor of the imperial power. Although, with the establishment of Christianity, the Mithras mysteries diminished, as temples were walled up or destroyed by Christian authorities. Besides the many visual artifacts of the religion, few written sources remain. There are only a few descriptions written by Christian authors who, perhaps, were not exactly fond of the Mithraic competition, as the religion is viewed as a rival of early Christianity. In the 4th century, Mithras faced persecution from Christians, and the religion was subsequently suppressed and eliminated in the Roman Empire by the end of the century. However, some temples did remain until the early 5th century CE. Beneath the lands between dwell the Ancestral Followers, a small cult left over from a long past era lost to time. They continue to practice their faith far below the lands between, in the sunken city of Nokron. They secretly worship the Ancestral Spirit in temples built hidden away from the city. The Noks, ancient inhabitants of Nokron, live under a false sky they seem to have created as they await for their coming age of the stars. The illusion of the sky within a large underground cave reminded me of the paint used within the Mithraic cave temples to create the visual effects of the stars and the night sky. They continue to exist in their faith beyond the purview of the Erd Tree, following the natural process of life and death. They are worshippers of an ancient belief of rebirth, and practice their faith on the outskirts of both the past society of Nokron as well as the current society of the Golden Order. Adorning fur belts and horns for their helms as well as their weapons, the Ancestral Followers dress in pieces obtained from their ceremonial hunts and honor their kills by utilizing every part of the animals they choose as their sacrifice. The eternal city of Nokron is long forgotten, but life has still found a way. A variety of species live within the Shifa River in peaceful balance. The spirits of the Ancestral Followers in both astral and physical forms protect the animals from any harm. Their astral form may be connected to their beliefs, as their souls continue to exist despite their death. The Hallowhorn Grounds, which are run-down temples that contain vegetation overgrowing ruins, are home to large deer carcasses. These temples possibly acted as a place to stage their ceremonial sacrifice. The stone obelisks in front of the temples are initially unlit, but will ignite as soon as you light up the altars placed around the temple. This reminded me of the altars used within the temples devoted to Mithras. As mentioned earlier, interpretations show that the birth of Mithras was celebrated by lighting torches. Discovered by YouTuber Zuli the Witch, during your battle with the Ancestor Spirit, when its health bar falls low, it will sacrifice the surrounding spirit animals to regain its own strength. It also has the ability to teleport by transferring its spirit into one of the other animals within the cave. The Ancestral Followers believe that the horns of long-lived beasts continue to bud like antlers, over and over again, until the beast one day becomes an ancestral spirit. The dwelling arrows that they use burn with the same blue flame we can see illuminate the ancestral spirit, and possibly the same flame we see when summoning Torrent, our own spectral steed. The blue flame is said to contain sparks of past life. Quick side note, the Ancestral Followers are found stomping their feet to the ground, both in their physical as well as their astral forms. Why do they do this? Well, when the white-tailed deer becomes alert, it'll curl up its front leg and then slam its hoof to the ground in a forceful manner. Despite popular belief, it's not always a sign of aggression. Each time a deer stamps its hoof into the earth, there's a high probability that their scent is being placed on the ground to exhibit their territory. While with horses and bulls, they've been observed stomping their hooves when they're either frustrated, in pain, or as a sign of aggression. Once defeated, the Ancestral Followers may drop a budding horn, showing their connection to the primordial crucible, an ancient source of life. While the horn is a symbol of the crucible, it also reflects the bull's horns of the Turktoni within the Mithraic Mysteries. Both horns used to symbolize a greater belief that sacrifice is needed to rebirth anew. The Greater Will, and by extension the Golden Order, sought to erase this culture from existence due to it being a competitor of beliefs. It succeeded for the most part, as their temples can only be found if you choose to venture deep below the earth. The only Ancestor Followers found above ground are in Lernia, near the Mausoleum compound at the base of the Minor Erd Tree, seemingly converted into the Golden Order. This rivalry of beliefs mirrors how the practice of Mithraism was suppressed and eliminated by Christian rule. Thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you have a wonderful week.